What up, everybody? Good morning and a very, very, very happy Tuesday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. A big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you're tuning in. Whether it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available to stream online at sportstalk1051.com. Get your app, download it, take it on the go. Smart devices, smart speakers, and the video streams that are also up and rolling on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. But a big thanks for making us a part of your starts on this May 6th. What do we got on our game plan for us this morning? Tobias Myers finally looking like the Tobias Myers from last year, helping lead the Brewers to a game one victory of this 3-game series against the Houston Astros. 5-1 victory for the Brewers last night. Tobias picking up his first win of the season, thanks to a solid outing from him and some early run support in the third that included a Christian Yelich home run, his 6th of the season, to tie Jackson Cheerio for the team lead. But Myers going 5 1/3, giving up 6 hits, 1 earned run. We talked about it yesterday. The command, the control, 0 walks. 0 walks from Tobias Myers yesterday. So definitely looked more confident. Definitely it looks like kind of took the challenge from Pat Murphy in his previous start when he yanked him after just a couple of innings. Message sent, message received. So good to see Tobias Myers kind of give us some flashbacks to last year and how he looked. So Brewers will try to at least secure a series win tonight. Chad Patrick is going to be on the mound for the Brewers, looking for his second win of the season. Chad Patrick 1-3, but a 2.87 ERA, coming off of a loss against the White Sox back in the first. But again, kind of a typical start maybe for Patrick. 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks over there. So we'll recap and preview last night. We'll recap last night's Brewers game, preview tonight's Brewers game coming up here in just a little bit as we'll talk some baseball, talk some Brewers baseball this morning. We'll chat a little football. This was a couple days ago, but I wanted to kind of get your feelings on it, your thoughts on it. But do you feel like let me take a step back, Dan. Take a step back. Go back to a couple days ago. Former Packers wide receiver James Jones. James Jones said it's time to put up or shut up for Jordan Love this season. Time to put up or shut up for Jordan Love. To which I ask you, Packers fans, do you agree? Do you agree that it is time? It is time, to quote Kevin Green, for Jordan Love to put up or shut up this upcoming season. Yes or no? Why or why not? All right. So I'll play the clip. All right. I'll play the clip coming up here a little bit. But I want to get do you think this is the year? This is the season. This is the season for Jordan Love, for all the moves that Green Bay has made. Do you think this has gotta be the season for him to put up or shut up? Are we already there, entering his 3rd year? Are we already at that point? Still feels like there's some Packers fans that have question marks surrounding Jordan Love, but let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Or do you think that's a little extreme at this point in time? We're gonna play a little bench start cuts. That's gonna be coming up a little bit later on. As I mentioned, it is a Poison Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. So, what is grinding your gears, peeps? What's grinding your gears? Get it off your chest as long as it's appropriate. Yeah, and then let us know. Best one, maybe I'll send out some teas. We'll see. We'll see what kind of participation we get from the masses here this morning. But what is grinding your gears? Let me know. Okay, hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can comment on the video streams. All right, you can comment on the video streams as well, or hit me up on the socials at DANKASPER on the X slash Twitter or Facebook.com as well. Facebook.com/Casper Sports, or hit us up on the Sports Talk Facebook page too. So we'll hit that. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal. We'll kind of change directions here for a little bit in a couple hours and talk some Badgers with Mr. Cardinal. So that'll be about 8:20 this morning. So we'll take a look at or we'll chat a little Badgers on our game plan for us this morning too. So there you have it. That's the game plan, and whatever else pops up in our minds in the next couple of hours from now. So let's pitter patter and let's get at her, shall we? Let's open it up, talking a little base. And we got NBA playoffs continuing. If you are a Timberwolves fan, they're in action tonight in Minnesota, taking on the Golden State Warriors. So yeah, we'll maybe throw a little hoops talk in there, maybe a little Stanley Cup playoff chats as part of it too. So, but we'll talk some baseball coming up here. A little Brewers. Brewers picking up the W yesterday to take Game 1 of this 3-game series. Tobias Myers reminding us what Tobias Myers is all about. Picking up his first win last night, but more importantly, too, kind of looking like Tobias from last year, answering the call, answering the challenge from Pat Murphy, essentially. Looked more confident, looked a whole lot more comfortable out on the mound last night. Christian Yelich picking up his 6th home run. Not only that, but now Christian Yelich has entered the 1,500th game club. 1,500 games for Christian Yelich. So we'll talk some Brewers, and then we'll get to a little Jordan Love talk if you agree with former Packers wide receiver James Jones and his assessments on Jordan Love for this upcoming season. So let's get at it. First break, and then we're going to jump right into it this morning. We'll talk some baseball, recapping the win from last night, taking a look at tonight's matchup with Chad Patrick on the mound for the Brewers. Can he pick up his 2nd win? We'll discuss. Since 1952, AJM Automotive Services has been Eau Claire's go-to for honest, reliable auto care. From oil changes and brake work to full engine repairs, tires, and even towing, their experienced team does it all with integrity and no upselling. And since it's lawn mowing season too, maybe you need to get that rider a little bit tuned up. Hey, they do small engine repairs as well. So give AJM Automotive a visit today. 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. Brewers picking up a win, yes, last night to begin their 3-game series against the Astros. Tobias, we were talking about Tobias. I wanted to see Tobias kind of look like last year's Tobias Myers. I thought this was a big start for him. Also based off of kind of the pseudo challenge from Pat Murphy, yanking him early in his previous starts, and got a little bit of bullpen action against the Cubbies and such, which Tobias after the game last night said it did help him in that. But good to see. I think obviously you want the win. That's the most important thing. You want to see the W. But the next closest thing I think we take away from the game last night is the fact that Tobias Myers gave us some flashbacks to last year. Looked more confident, looked more in control of the game, and it was a much-needed start for the Brewers, but also I think probably for the confidence of one Tobias Myers too. Let's be real. I think he needed that start last night as well. And Tobias, after the game, talking a little bit, saying, I just felt like myself tonight, just one pitch at a time instead of being pissed off about the last pitch that I had thrown. Myers went 5 1/3, 6 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, which is, I think, the biggest thing, too. We talked about it yesterday, the command, the control from Tobias Myers in his first couple games. The walk number was up. Could kind of just see that it wasn't really there, that command and that control. Got that down. And did get in a little bit of a funk there heading into the 6th. But Nick Mears, man, you want to talk about another pitcher. Nick Mears has pitched really well. He was in a tight situation replacing Tobias Myers last night and got out of that tight situation. Remember, Nick Mears was an acquisition last year, coming over from the Colorado Rockies. And so far this year, Nick Mears has inherited 15 inherited runners on the season. He's left 10 stranded so far. So it seems like Nick Mears is maybe that guy that when you get into a situation where it's, you got runners left on, and in Nick Mears' case last night, bases loaded, and kind of seems like Nick is the guy, one of the guys. I'd throw probably Thomas in there too, but I mean, looks like he's the guy like they're going to go to when it comes to, all right, we got to get out of this tight jam. We got to get out of this situation. Who are we going to go to out of the bullpen? Looks like it's going to be Nick Mears or Grant Anderson. Excuse me, I was thinking Connor Thomas, but Grant Anderson's also been given some opportunities there, and he has lived up to that. Well, he's taken that challenge and performed pretty darn well too. So a lot of good stuff to like from last night. Christian Yelich picking up another home run, his 6th of the season, tied for the team lead with Jackson Cheerio at 6. Tobias Meyer, Christian Yelich also leading the team in RBIs now with 25. And Christian Yelich last night playing in his 1500th game, 1,500 games. 13-year veteran already reaching that benchmark, saying afterwards when you play your first one, you don't know how many you're going to get, so you try to enjoy them all. 1,500 later with hopefully a few more to go. It's pretty cool. Mixed into 1,500 games are a lot of bright spots and a lot of tough moments too. Teaching moments that I think you have to go through to understand that you're always going to come out of the other side, and you're usually better for it when you go through those tough stretches. And he did acknowledge too kind of the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs so far in the beginning parts of Christian Yelich's season. And I mean, you look at the numbers, and yeah, I think the example I've been using is kind of like an EKG. You've had some really, really, or some solid moments. They haven't lasted the longest, but some down moments for Yelich in terms of offensive production and offensive numbers. You look at it in 124 at bats so far this season for Christian Yelich. He's got 6 home runs. He's got 25 RBIs. He's got 7 stolen bases, but just hitting 210, 317 on base, and a 696 OPS. All those numbers are below his career averages. So we're just looking for Yelich to maybe kind of like Tobias Myers. Could we get back to the Christian Yelich that we were seeing from last year, where he was an all-star starter hitting over 300 and being a threat pack at the plate in that. But yeah, I'd like to see Christian Yelich kind of get more consistent at the plate. A little bit more consistent at the plate. So, a couple of injury notes. Sal Frelick, his knee injury, not as serious. That Pat Murphy said was not as serious as they initially thought. An AL stint is not currently being considered by the Brewers. MRI showed swelling and some inflammation. But Freddie Peralta, as of yesterday, had not undergone any imaging either. But the Brewers might, quote, give him a day or two. Might give him a day or two. So, just a couple of injury notes to pass along with surrounding the Brewers. Tonight, you've got the Brewers game 2 going up against the Houston Astros, and one of those pitchers that has been tasked to step up on a big challenge this year, and that's Chad Patrick, and he's back on the mound tonight for the Crew, looking for his second win so far this season, 1-3 with a 2.87 ERA. It's going to be a guy that's going to get plenty of other opportunities this year, kind of like a Tobias Myers last year, where Tobias pitched well, and got his opportunities, pitched well, and kind of forced his way to remain in that lineup. And I think Chad Patrick is doing the same at this point, right? So you look at it, his last 3 starts, he's actually suffered 3 straight losses, but you can kind of look at it a little bit deeper and be like, well, guys, what led to those 3 losses? I think really it's run support. Go back to the 19th against the Athletics. Dude pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, struck out 7, no walks, charged with a loss. Gets the Cardinals, 4 1/3, 2 earned runs, couple strikeouts, charged with a loss. And his latest outing against the White Sox, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, charged with a loss. I think it's pretty simple to look at and kind of summarize that. Yeah, it's a lack of run support in a lot of these games for Chad Patrick where he's started. You look at it, I mean, a 2.87 ERA, you take that almost any day of the week when it comes to a starting pitcher. I think you almost take that every single day of the week when it comes to a starting pitcher. But, you look at kind of these lineups, and on the other side, you got Hayden Wesneski going for the Astros. He's 1-2 with a 3.86 ERA. Again, not a ton of experience between these lineups. In fact, Astros, nothing going up against Chad Patrick. So it's a little bit of an unfamiliar territory with them. Brewers-wise, you got a couple of games for some of these guys going up against Hayden. I mean, you got Contreras, who's had 4 career at-bats. Frelick's had 4 career at-bats. Hoskins has 5 career at-bats. So, I mean, you got a little bit there, but you're talking maybe a game, maybe game and a half working there. So, not a ton. It's both pitchers going in maybe with a little bit of an advantage of hitters not having a ton of experience going up against these guys. So a little bit of an unknown part to it. But I hope for Chad Patrick's sake that he gets some run support. He gets that run support because he has pitched well, and he's been one of the, I think, surprises for this Brewers team so far this season. And you look at the numbers. I mean, he starts off back in March. He pitched an inning, gave up a couple of earned runs against the Yankees. But, he's coming. His latest start against the White Sox was actually the most runs he's given up in a single outing so far this season. That's been 3. Yeah. Otherwise, Kansas City, he was solid. Nothing. Cincinnati, 1. Arizona, none. 2, 3. And, there's probably going to be a little bit more on the book with Chad Patrick. The more starts he gets out there, a little bit more of a scouting report and such. But hopefully, I think the biggest thing is maybe he gets some early run support, kind of like Tobias Myers does. Settle down a little bit, gain a little bit of confidence. But you look at, speaking of run support when it comes to Brewers, and you look at some of the offensive numbers when it comes to this team, and we could point at individual players, and that, Bryce Terang has had a really, really good offensive season. Bryce Terang, I think, he's taken it so far. He's taken it up another step, and he's gotten better every single year in his young career on the offensive side. But you look at it from a team as a whole, and as a team as a whole, this Brewers team has, in the early goings of the season, the first month and a half of this season, they have really struggled offensively when you look at some of the numbers here. I mean, you're talking about slugging percentage. They're in the bottom 5, bottom 6. They're 24th right now in slugging percentage at a 359. Actually, they're tied up there with like Texas, and Texas just fired their quote unquote offensive coordinator, hitting coach, and such. You look at OPS, Brewers, they're down there too. They're ranked 22nd in the league. You want to talk about batting average? All right, a little bit better, 19th at 240. But you look at a lot of the other offensive numbers from this team, and it's just offense has been a little bit of an issue. Now, they are 13th at total hits. So they got that going for them, which is nice, I guess. They are 10th in the league in runs scored at 170. But Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers, had this tweet yesterday, and this was obviously before the game and that, so I don't know if it still technically holds up. But remember Luis Urias, former Brewer? This was from Kurt Hogg yesterday, what he tweeted. He would lead the Brewers in slugging percentage right now. That's, to put it in a comparison, okay? He would lead this Brewers team in slugging percentage right now. And give him credit for the Athletics. He's played with and he's having a good season when you look at the numbers. I mean, he's hitting 277 so far this season. He's got 5 home runs. Okay? He was a guy that I think when he was first brought in by the Brewers acquisition-wise, there was some excitement like, okay, yeah. And maybe never just really reached that potential when he was with the Brewers. But right now, when you look at it so far, he's hitting 246 right now. Is it 246 right now? Let me double, or is that his career? Let me bring up Pro Baseball Reference. 246 so far this year, but he is slugging 492. 492 slugging percentage, on base of a 342. His OPS is an 834. Let me go and check for if that's still. Is that still up to date? So Cheerio has a slugging of a 464. Yeah, you're right. Luis would lead the Brewers in slugging right now. 492. Jackson's a 464. And you got Reese at a 416. But, yeah, those numbers, those offensive numbers. You know, speaking of which, of like trades and players and how they're working out and such, Devin Williams, man, that really isn't working out so far in the Big Apple. I mean, he's struggling playing for the Yankees. Now, I feel like Devin Williams would be pitching maybe, and I don't know, this is just my gut, but I almost feel like he'd have better numbers if he was still with the Brewers. We've seen this with guys that struggle in bigger markets, more eyes on them, bigger cities and such. Everybody wants the limelight. I should say everybody. A lot of people want the limelight. They want the extra attention, the big moments, contenders, and all that. But we've seen time and time again where there's some players it affects them and kind of takes a hit on their careers. Chuck Knobloch, maybe what an example of that. But man, you look at Devin Williams, 14 games he's appeared in so far, 4 saves, 11, just a little over 11 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, but at over a 10 ERA, 10.03. Last night against the Padres, just pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 earned runs, couple walks, couple strikeouts. I mean, we saw opening day against his former team in the Brewers, right? But it has not been great. And you look back at the early goings of this trade between the Yankees and the Brewers with Devin Williams, and Nestor Cortez has been out with an injury. We've only gotten to see him a couple times, and then the other guy part of that trade has been Caleb Durbin, who was just called up a couple weeks ago for the Brewers, and so far in 53 at bats, he's hitting 226. He's got 12 hits, 10 RBIs for Caleb Durbin right away. I think that's kind of cool for 53 at bats. 1 home run, an OPS of 651. I don't want to get into who's won this trade because we're only, month and a half into the season. But man, it has not been working out so far for Devin Williams. It is not. I feel like he'd be pitching better if he was with the Brewers. That's just my gut. I could be completely wrong on that. Just because we have seen other guys, other players, other athletes, when they go from a smaller market, smaller media attention maybe, to, that big size market, big shiny object, and, well, maybe it gets to them a little bit. But, yeah, not great right now for Devin. That's for sure. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll have some more. We'll get to some of your comments, some of your thoughts and such. So, quick break. We'll be back to finish up the first hour after these quick words. Blanket on what to do for lunch or dinner. Don't stress about it. It's easy with Hy-Vee and Eau Claire. They have daily meal deals, fried chicken, Chinese food, pizza, chef specials, a huge selection of easy take and bake meals that are made fresh in store daily. Plus, they even get the grills and smokers out, and well, you could grab yourself some ribs, some pulled pork, or half chickens. Making plans for your meals just got a whole lot easier and tastier with the help from Hy-Vee and Eau Claire. Jim, with a question on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line this morning. Jim's asking, is it safe to say that we're back to the Packers being the most likely Wisconsin team to win a championship? Of course. I think that, yeah, 100% I would agree with that. The Bucs window is no longer there. And I should say no longer there. But, I mean, so much uncertainty surrounding Giannis, the makeup of that team, the Damian Lillard injury just throws a huge wrench into this whole thing. So I wouldn't put the Bucs there. I'm not putting the Brewers there. I just right now, sure, I think they could be a playoff team, compete for a playoff spot, but not championship. And I hate saying that. If we throw college into the equation, Badger basketball, no. Although, I mean, who knows in a given year? But right now, if you're asking me, no. Badger football, no. No. If we're talking and just the big ones, the bigger ones of football. I mean, if you throw Badger hockey in there, I mean, the women's team just won the national championship, so yeah, I think you could throw them into there. But if we're talking about maybe the pros, yeah, there's no question. I think it's if you want to say back to the Packers, or maybe for some people to say, well, it never left. It was always the Packers. And yeah, I mean, and we'll get to what James Jones had to say here about Jordan Love in just a little bit, but yeah, I think if you're looking at the three pro teams, I think there's no question right now. If you had to pick between the three in the state of Wisconsin, which one's most likely to win a championship, or which one will win the championship first, I'd throw my chips into Green Bay. And I don't know if anybody's like thinking like, well, why is it always Green Bay? Why is it always, the Packers and it's not, the Brewers up there and that? I mean, it's a mixture of a lot of things, right? I mean, you could say it's payroll for Brewers. Can they compete with some of the top spending teams? I know we could break it down and be like, well, some of the teams that actually go and win World Series, it's payrolls and that. Yeah. And I think baseball too, it's such a long grueling season in summer that sometimes if you're playing your best baseball at the right moment, that can really propel you to a deep playoff run and potentially winning the World Series. But I think if you looked at it on paper and you looked at rosters and that, and you compare them to Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, and all that, do they have as much talent? It's probably lacking in some areas. But I think the biggest thing would be, yeah, you're pointing at maybe payrolls, say, and which teams can afford to have this player and be bring in this player and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basketball, Bucks have spent. They've spent a lot of money, right? Maybe too much money, to where now it's got them in a very difficult spot. I think maybe I should say too much money, but maybe not money well spent. Maybe they should have allocated some funds towards maybe some younger players or some different type of players. So, on one hand, at least, you have a Bucks team or a Bucks ownership group that is willing to spend. I think the biggest question is, well, a couple of them, did they spend too much where now it's really handcuffed them? Were they a little too aggressive in some trades where now they don't have any like picks hardly if you factor in the draft? Still have Giannis, but definitely needs more help, and they're kind of handcuffed by some of the financial constraints of within the salary cap and luxury tax. And then you got Green Bay that, not a lot of times do they find themselves in salary cap HE double hockey sticks. Once in a while, they are in a tight situation, but they have a system. They have a mindset on how they want to do things, what they do, and for the most part, it works out. And I think that's why they're always consistently, when you look at a lot of the Wisconsin sports that are competing for, a team that's got the best shot to win a championship, Green Bay is going to be at the top for a long time. And yes, it makes it a little bit more of an even playing field too, because they have a hard salary cap compared to where baseball doesn't. That affects it. There's no question about it. But you still a lot of times see certain teams in the NFL that are just still losing games, can't get over the hump. And why is that? Well, maybe they make stupid free agent decisions. Maybe they make stupid contract structures. Maybe they don't draft well. They can't identify talent. Mingling owners. Kind of getting their, hands into front office decisions. And maybe making things a little bit more personal. Cowboys. So I think when you look at the structure of these organizations, of these three, then maybe we could go back to the question. It's like, which one is the most stable? And I don't think it's any question. In my opinion, it's Green Bay. If you're looking at Green Bay and you're looking at the Bucs and you're looking at the Brewers, which organization is more stable in terms of like stability, in terms of competing for championships, winning games, winning a bunch of games, and putting themselves in a position? Now, I'm not saying right now, I'm not going to say Green Bay is winning my pick to win a Super Bowl this year or anything like that. But it goes back to the question from the listener. Are we back to Green Bay's got our best shot to win a championship for a Wisconsin sports team? And yeah, right now, I don't think it's that close, to be honest with you. I think the Brewers could still make the postseason. I mean, I think the Cubs are showing that they're better than a lot of, maybe not a lot, because, I mean, the national pundits and projections out there all had the Cubs fairly high, right? Predicted them to win the division and that, but I think there was still some apprehension from a lot of people like, yeah, but how much did they really do? Yeah, they brought in Tucker, but, it wasn't enough. And they're playing well to begin this season. I hate saying that. I really do. I really hate saying that, but you got to acknowledge it. And then you look at the box, and it's just, if we had like an emoji to describe our current teams right now, I'd have the shrug emoji when it comes to the Brewers or the Bucks. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how you fix it right now. I mean, you're probably saying, well, infuse it with some younger talent and make some moves here or there. That's great. But with what? How? And then, you got Green Bay, where for the most part, not every team hits on every draft pick, but they've drafted fairly well with some of their picks, made some right moves in free agency. I think the expectation is going to be incredibly high for Green Bay. I think there's going to be some eyeballs on this team. Like, okay, what do we got from maybe LaFleur this year? What can he do? Is not saying he's on a hot seat, but I think there's going to be extra eyeballs on Matt LaFleur this upcoming season. No question. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. Jordan Love, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Is it, as James Jones said just a couple days ago, time to put up or shut up? As he's entering his third year as the starter. To put it in comparison, third year as a starter for Aaron Rodgers led the team to a Super Bowl. Didn't look like, let's be real, 2010, 2011, didn't look like it was going to be a team that was going to go and win a Super Bowl after the first few weeks. Not even close. I mean, what were they 2-2? Yeah, I think they were 2-2 heading into that Minnesota game. Was it 2-2, 3-3, somewhere around there? With Favre's final game as a Viking going to Lambeau Field. But yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to just kind of the structure of the organizations. And yes, we can nitpick different things with the salary caps, and one has a salary cap, the other doesn't. One has kind of a floating salary cap with luxury tax and all that. That's the NBA net. So yes, we can pinpoint that stuff and nitpick some of that stuff too, and it would be right. It'd be part of the the conversation. But yeah, it's we're back. I think maybe for some again it wasn't it was always Green Bay. I think there for a little bit because I think we even had this conversation a couple years ago. I think somebody had posed who do you think of all the Wisconsin pro teams right now who's in a position to, or who do you feel more confident in winning a championship or winning another championship? And maybe a couple years ago it was the Bucks. Maybe you're feeling a little bit better about the Brewers. You had Jordan Love coming in. There was some uncertainty like, okay, we don't know about the guy. And if it doesn't work out, we're kind of back to square one and resetting everything here. But after a couple of years, and you look at the other franchises involved, yeah, I would agree. So, but we're going to talk a little bit about what James Jones had to say about Jordan Love and whether you agree that it's time to, quote, put up or shut up for Jordan Love. Do you agree? Do not agree? Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you got? So we'll hit that up coming up just past the 7 o'clock hour. Also coming up a little bit later on, we'll do a little Toyson Ford grind my gears. So what is grinding your gears? Okay. Get it off your chest as long as it's appropriate to say on the air. But what is grinding your gears? All right. If you hit me up with a text and it's a good one, maybe I'll send you something. Maybe it's a tee, maybe it's some sticker, whatever. We got some swag I want to hand out. So hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can visit us on the video streams and comments over there. We're going to play a little bench start cuts. It's always awkward when we play these games and I have to come up with the questions and then answer them myself. So I'm going to try this. I don't have a producer. We're going to try AI, and we're going to do it on the fly. All right, so I'm gonna go to like a chat GPT, I think. Type in something about give me a Wisconsin sports themed bench start cut question and see what AI has to offer. So we're gonna do it on the fly. Probably do it. Throw it out there. Go to break. Give you guys and gals a couple minutes to give me your picks for bench start cut. But only a couple minutes to prepare for that. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of use maybe a little AI, a little chat GPT as my pseudo producer over there. If this works well, I might need a nickname and I might need your help. Might need your help to nickname our AI producer, if you will. We'll see what kind of questions, what kind of bench start cut question they could come up with. So we'll do that probably in the next. Yeah, we'll probably do it within the 7 o'clock hour. But if you got a good name, yeah, let me know. Okay, I don't know if I can do Johnny Five. I love the movie Short Circuit as a kid, but we call Johnny Five our what do you call those vacuums that go around the house? We already call that Johnny Five at our house. So I already thought of Johnny Five. I can't call another thing Johnny Five. So, all right, we'll get back to some Brewers talk too. Don't forget, first pitch for tonight's game is at 6:40 again. You can listen to it on 105.1 FM, 790 AM. And then tomorrow's a little getaway day. We've got a day game for the crew, then an off day before they hit the road where they'll take on Tampa Bay for the weekend, and then Cleveland right after that. So Chad Patrick on the mound for the crew. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk and talk a little bit about talk a little bit about that game, preview that game coming up here a little bit later on. We'll get back to some of your texts and your comments. Again, you can do it on the texting or hit us up on socials or the video streams. So we'll get to that too. Really want some good grind my gears, okay? Something's got to be grinding your gears right now. Something's always grinding our gears right now. All right, you should be at the point where how do I narrow it down to just one? Just one, man. You don't have to narrow it down to one. Send me a few of them. I could go for a good Surveyor Sam grind my gears on this Tuesday morning. So we'll get to those though coming up. Yeah, a little bit. Well, we'll go through some of them probably coming up in the next hour and such. So also we got NBA playoffs for the Timberwolves begins tonight, going up against the Warriors. I'm a Timberwolves fan now with no Bucks in it, and I think this is going to be a really fun series between the Timberwolves and the Warriors. But so far in the NBA playoffs, it's been the lower seeds that have been getting the W's. The Pacers the other night against the Cavs, New York overtime, eliminating a 20-point deficit to take down the Celtics, Denver taking down OKC. So maybe a little extra time off for those top seeds. Not a huge benefit. How many times have we seen that in the world of sports? The team that has a little bit more time off, maybe it looks a little rusty in their first games coming back. So, yeah, you're looking at and then you got Timberwolves and Warriors tonight, but that's a 6-7 matchup. But Warriors are coming off of, a 7-game series against the Rockets. So, but that's in Minnesota. They hold home court advantage since they are the higher seed in this one as a 6-7 matchup. Plus, we'll talk a little Stanley Cup playoffs coming up a little bit later on. Just about a minute or so with Morgs. Good morning, Morgs.
How are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
You're looking to name your AI?
Yeah.
Okay. Got some ideas for you.
Oh, rapid fire.
Splinter.
No.
Apollo Creed.
No.
Ricky Bobby.
No.
Happy Gilmore.
No.
Benny the Jet.
No.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
All right.
That was weak.
Why don't you just name it No?
No.
Because okay.
No.
I'm sensing a
I need something a little bit more creative than that.
How deep are you into AI right now? Are you somebody that will like dink around with it?
I'll dick around with it, but I'm not deep in it.
Do you have strong feelings?
What I've found out.
Yeah.
So I'll like ask something like, okay, what happened on this day in Wisconsin sports history in case I missed something?
Sure.
And they'll send it to me and I fact check it.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them they're wrong.
Yep.
And they apologize.
They do? Okay. No. Does it give you the opportunity to correct what is ever wrong?
Yeah, I'll tell them what, like I back up my facts.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right, sort of thing. So I don't trust it half the time.
Okay, I don't either. But how addicted do you think you'll become to it? Is it one of those tech things that you find yourself going down the rabbit hole for? Because you know what this has really done? Like, I mean, all phones, not just AI, but the accessibility to like Google something.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken away the art of the bar fight.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to sit down, have a couple beers, lay a question on the table, greatest basketball player of all time, and go. And then you would start the bar fight.
Yeah.
Now you can just Google stats. So it kind of sucks the fun out of that.
Alexa used to be like that. Because we would ask Alexa, like the big thing was you'd ask Alexa, hey, who's the greatest baseball player of all time?
Mm-hmm.
And she would say Bryce Harper or Mike Trout.
Right.
And that sparked a debate.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Trout's not the greatest baseball player of all time anymore.
So you're saying that Alexa's an instigator?
Yeah, I think she is she was like the first version of kind of a chat AI GPT sort of thing.
Now, would you prefer that all discussions like that, all of the fight me questions, had a no phone, no Google, no tech rule attached to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Use your own personal knowledge.
Okay, grind his gears, guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Really, not Splinter? I thought that was a great name.
No.
Oh.
No. Not for AI. Come on.
Come on.
All right, here we go. Second hour, kick it off right now on this Toys and Fords Grind My Gears Tuesday. A big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you're tuning in from. Coming up this hour, we'll play a little bench start cuts, a little AI version of that. Send me what is grinding your gears. All right, what's grinding your gears? You could text those on over to us at 715-830-1912 or hit us up on the socials or the video streams. You could do that as well. So we'll get back to some more baseball talk. Brewers going to be back at it tonight, 6:40 first pitch. Coverage begins about 35 minutes beforehand. You can listen to that game on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Chad Patrick on the mound for the crew. If the Brewers win tonight, they will at least secure a series win. Let's switch gears here a little bit, and I want to chat a little football. So this was a couple days ago, but James Jones, former Packers wide receiver, James Jones on the facility program on Fox, I believe it's Fox Sports, but said it's time to put up or shut up. Do you agree with him? Well, let's play a little bit of the clip, and then you can hear James Jones's reasonings, and you tell me whether it's fair. Let's do a little fair or foul. Fair or foul? Do you agree with James Jones that it is time this year, entering his third year as a starting quarterback, that it's time to put up or shut up for James Jones? Audio courtesy from the facility. All right, so that's audio courtesy again from the facility. That's former Packers wide receiver James Jones on there. I don't, Jordan's entering his third year as a starter, and I'm sure this is going to be brought up numerous times when we get into the season or get ready for the season. That while Aaron Rodgers led the team to a Super Bowl championship in his third year as a starter for the Packers, that was that 2010 season. Where, let's be real, after the first few weeks, did it look like they were a Super Bowl contending team? No, they weren't. And I've told this story numerous times, but it was that after, gosh, let me bring up. I think they were 2-2. Maybe they were 3-2. Let me bring it up. But I've told this story numerous times that it was so they were okay. So they were actually 3-3 heading into that Minnesota game. So yeah, okay, 3-3. It was right before. I think it was right before that Minnesota game. I was working at the YMCA in Rapids, sports director is at, and you know, getting a question. Oh, when are you gonna get married? And my comments, trying to be funny, was the next time the Packers win a Super Bowl. They were 3-3 at this time in 2010, and they go on and win the Super Bowl that year. So there you have it. Don't mess with the football gods. Lesson learned. But they did win the Super Bowl that year. So get ready. I mean, you're probably gonna hear that a lot And you might hear it during the telecast, right? Because you're going to get comparisons again. Well, in Aaron Rodgers' third year of being the starting quarterback, he led the team to a Super Bowl 45 championship. I don't think James Jones is out of line for what he's saying. I think, the segment called Put Up or Shut Up might be a little too dramatic in terms of like, oh, what, I mean, you say he's got to put up this year or he's just kind of like, he's not the guy or he's not a good quarterback. No, I don't think that's what James Jones is saying by any means. And I think, when you heard it at the beginning, he's like, it's time to ball out and such. Now, I get what he's saying, time to stay healthy and all that. A lot of times with injuries, again, we like to point the finger at people, at athletes when they get hurt and try to put the blame on them. But in reality, a lot of the times they have nothing to do with it. It's not something that they can prevent. I mean, come on. If players and teams especially could figure out ways to prevent injuries, like a foolproof way to prevent injuries, it would have been done. They would be doing it right now. But I do think it is a big year. I would agree with James Jones that I think it is a big year for Jordan Love to come in here. And I think part of it, though, too, is just you look at the division. Look at this. I think right now, as we're sitting here on May 6th, the best division in football, the most competitive division in football. And I think that's part, or at least why I would say it's a big year for Jordan Love, too, because for the longest time, if you were a Packers fan, if you are a Packers fan, or if you were the Packers, you can almost kind of rest on your laurels within this division. Maybe every couple years or for a couple years, there would be, the Vikings being in contention or maybe the Bears and that. And for the longest time, it wasn't the Lions. Or the Lions would have those good teams like the Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Ndamukong Suh, but Green Bay would still kind of have the edge advantage. You can't rest on your laurels anymore. For the longest time during the Aaron Rodgers era, was you could rest on your laurels and win a championship, or compete for a championship, win a division championship. But given the state of this division right now, you can't, and Green Bay doesn't have that right essentially to rest on their laurels because they haven't won a division championship either with Jordan Love as a starting quarterback. So I think it's a big year in terms of a lot of different things. One, to get back to the postseason, but to advance in the postseason. But look at last year. Your record against division teams. You won one game. One game against Chicago. Should have been at least two against Chicago, but you let it. I don't know, that weird ending. But you didn't beat the Lions. You didn't beat the Vikings at any point last year. To be a champion, to get to that next level, to advance to the postseason, you got to win your division games. So you're set up already within your division, going up against some really quality teams. And yes, I know I'm putting a lot on Chicago. I liked what Chicago did this offseason. And again, that pains me to say it. It pains me a lot to say that. But Chicago did a lot of good things in this offseason, starting off with Ben Johnson, made smart free agent moves, trades in the offseason so they could go into the draft with a little flexibility. And I thought they drafted well. They're putting together their team that they want that kind of emulates a lot of what Detroit does so well. And it makes sense because that's where Ben Johnson's coming from and that's where Ben Johnson's had success. But this is going to be a brutal division. You would hope that it prepares you for a division or for a deep playoff run. I know some counter arguments to that is like, well, it's so physical, it's so tough that maybe it weakens them when it gets to the playoffs. I don't know if I buy that. I heard that a lot last year. But yeah, I don't think there's any question. It's a big year for Jordan Love. It's a big year for Matt LaFleur. It's a big year for this team overall. We're expecting jumps from individual players. We need to see jumps from individual players. Like a Lucas Van Ness. We need to see better performances from a Kenny Clark. More consistent performances from Rashawn Gary. Better performances from the wide receiving group. I don't know if I agree with James when he talks about, one of the best offense or one of the best receiving groups. I don't know if I'm ready to drink that Kool-Aid. But I don't have a problem with what James Jones said. I don't think by any means was he saying this is a do or die year for Jordan Love. It was like, oh, he's got to go out there and ball, otherwise, he's going to be out, or he's going to have, this bust label. I don't think that's what he was going with by any means. I think it's a big year for a lot of different reasons. We want to see him stay healthy. We want to see him really compete at a high level like he was maybe at that second half of last year, or more at a more consistent level from this past year. We want to see this team take another step. It's not enough just to get to the postseason anymore, right? It's making deep runs. It's getting to the Super Bowl. It's accumulating multiple trophies, multiple Vince Lombardi trophies. And I think this year is got to be a step in that right direction. It's got to be a step in that direction. After that first year of Jordan Love starting, it was kind of like, it's almost kind of like, well, you did a little too much, and we got so excited for year two. It's like you raised that bar so incredibly high. You beat Dallas, and then you probably should have beat the 49ers and advanced to the NFC Championship game, where you would have gone up against the Lions, who you had just beat on Thanksgiving, an opponent you were very familiar with. And from when I talked to some Lions fans, they didn't want to play Green Bay. To where it was injuries last year, inconsistency with the offense down the stretch, questionable play. So it makes sense where if you would say, yeah, it's a big year for Jordan Love. A bounce back year. Stay healthy. Go ball out like we know you can, that we have seen. But I wouldn't say it's just Jordan. I would say it's got to be Matt LaFleur. Because I think you look at some of the offensive stuff last year, and they ran the ball a ton. I think part of that was by design. Part of it was, okay, Jordan's hurt with the knee. I think it was fairly obvious that his knee injuries affected him throughout the whole season. Knee and groin injuries were affecting him throughout the whole season. So I think that came into it. I think the fact that their receivers struggled with drop percentage. I mean, guys can't hold on to the football, so what are you doing? You're probably putting it in your best offensive player's hand as many times as you possibly can, and that was Josh Jacobs. So, yeah, a big chunk of it was part of design. I would expect an offense this year to not be what we saw last year. I think Josh Jacobs is probably still going to rush for over 1,000 yards, but I think you're going to see different wrinkles into it. I think you have to, for one. You have to. And I think as an offensive play caller, who also happens to be your head coach, but for an offensive play caller, you're always trying to stay one step ahead. And that's where I thought Matt LaFleur was at his best, or when he is at his best as a play caller. It felt like he was always a step ahead of the opponent. He really displayed that 2 years ago down the stretch, getting into the postseason and in that game against the Cowboys. It felt like he was always a step ahead of the defensive coordinator. And in some of those games where it's just Green Bay's offense looks like they're in rhythm, it felt like LaFleur was in a rhythm too. Always a step ahead, always thinking a step ahead. Not getting too cute, but just like in that zone, right? We talk about being in the zone in sports all the time. And that's when LaFleur is really at his best, when it feels like he's always just one step ahead of that opposing defensive coordinator in terms of play calling. But I would add more to than just it being Jordan Love, where it's a big year. I think it's Matt LaFleur. I think it's Jane Reed. I think it's Tucker Kraft. I think it's, defensively, we could go through the list of guys. It's a bunch of guys. So I think there's still going to be high expectations for this team, but it's also going to be a very, very difficult division and a very tough schedule. I could easily, I don't want to go into a schedule breakdown in May, but, you could have a team, 11 wins, may not look that impressive with an 11-6 record, but they may be a better team than a team that's got 13 wins, because it's such a brutal schedule. are in a brutal division. All right, so before we take our quick break, let's do our bench start cut games. So since I don't have a producer, and I always find it awkward. I always find it awkward to come up with a question and then answer it myself. So I don't want to try to like play favorites or tip the scales or anything like that. But since I don't have a producer to come up with these, let's utilize AI, artificial intelligence, Chat GPT. I this I've used it just to play around and mess with it. It's not accurate. I can tell you that. I've once in a while I'll be like, oh, let's see what they have to say. Like I'll test their skills. Like, no, that's wrong. So, that's kind of fun to do that. But in this instance, I'm like, let's see what they have to say. If I throw out a question, give me a bench start cut question, Wisconsin sports edition. So I have not typed it in yet. Maybe you'll hear me type it in. I'll type it in and we're going to go on the fly. I'll throw what the question is, give you a chance to text me your answers. We'll see how this works. If it works, maybe we got to give our artificial intelligence AI person a name. I don't know, but let's type it in. I'm just going to go, what's a Wisconsin sports themed bench start cut question? All right. Let's okay. So it gave me a couple actually. All right, so should we do a couple? Let's do a couple. Bench start cut all-time Wisconsin sports legend edition. Brett Favre, Giannis, Robin Yount. All right. So you got a bench one, you got a start one, you got a cut one. Favre, Giannis, Yount. What direction are you going? And the second one, they've got Wisconsin Sports Icons Edition, but it's not players. It's I don't know how I would say it, but I mean the options are Lambeau Field. Okay. Lambeau Field, jump around at Camp Randall. So it's the song, it's not Camp Randall itself. So you got a stadium and you got a song, and it's the Bernie Brewer slide. All right. So if we throw that one out there too, bench start cut or bench cut start, bench start cut, however you want to call it. Hit me up with your answers. Text me 715-830-1912. I need a couple minutes to think about mine. I think that last one's a little bit easier, but we'll see how it goes. All right, we'll play a little bench start cut coming up after these quick words. When it comes to orthopedic care, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here for you. Their team of specialists provides comprehensive services, including joint replacement, sports medicine, pain management, and spine care. Whether you're recovering from an injury or managing chronic pain, they offer personalized treatment plans to help you get back to the activities that you love. Just visit cvosm.com to schedule an appointment today. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, your partner in recovery. Hey, don't forget to get your two-person team in to the 5th annual Casper Classic being held this year, Friday, August 1st at Lake Hallie Golf Course. You only got a couple weeks left if you want to get in that 7:30 tee time slot. Join the defending champion surveyor Sam and Nate's team there. But that is only going to be open. That tee time slot's only going to be open for a couple weeks here. So if you want to get in on the 10 a.m. tee time slot or the 1 p.m. tee time slot, you have to head to sportstalk1051.com. You have to head to that website right now and sign up your two-person team. Everything else the same. $90 covers your entire team. Got some free drink tickets, got a free meal, includes your 9 holes of golf and your cart. This is our biggest Backyard Dreams fundraiser out there, and it's because of all of you who support Backyard Dreams that we were able to sign up a kiddo for the Aaron Jones football camp coming up in July, and sign up a kiddo for the Jaden Reed football camp coming up in June, and to do other stuff like that. This is what this golf outing is all about. If you're not a golfer but you still want to help out, maybe you want to sponsor a hole, or what we're really looking for too is raffle donations, prize donations for the raffle. If you want to help out that way, because all those proceeds go to help fund Backyard Dreams, just shoot me a message and we'll do a little chit chat and such. So, but if you want to golf it, get in right now before it fills up, because we have sold out every single year and plan to do so again for the 5th year now at Lake Hallie Golf Course. All right, so let's do a little bench start cut. We are our Chat GPT AI service threw out a couple of different options, or a couple different questions out there. First one, it said Wisconsin. Where did it go? I got to bring it back up so I term it correctly. Wisconsin, all-time Wisconsin Sports Legend Edition. The 3 that they gave us, according to ChatGPT. Farvey, Giannis, Yount. Start, bench, cut. Who you got? Couple texts going. Start Yount, bench Giannis, cut Favre. Start Giannis, bench Favre, cut Yount. Start Yount, bench Favre, cut Giannis. Those were just a few of the texts that we got in. You could continue to send me yours if you want. Here's mine. After just a couple minutes to think about it, I am going to go start. I'm going to say start Giannis. Now, I would say, before we get further into this, I would say at least 2 of the 3. For some, it's all 3. Me personally, no. Top 5, yes. But at least 2 out of 3 are considered the franchise's best player. Giannis and Robin Yount. For many, Favre is considered the best in Packers history. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Me, top 3, top 4. Okay? So, I'm going to start Giannis. I'm going to bench Yount. And I'm going to cut Favre. For those reasons I just kind of said. Like, Yount to me, greatest Brewer of all time. Giannis to me, greatest Buck of all time. And I don't think he's done. Now, you could say, well, where's the degree of separation between maybe Giannis and Kareem compared to Yount and whoever you consider as the next greatest Brewer of all time? That's fair. That's fair. But for me, I'm going to go Giannis, I'm going to go Yount, and I'm cutting Favre. Because I think there's more of a pool to pick from like the Packers side. Now, if they put in If they put in Don Hudson, maybe it's a little bit harder for me. If they put in Rodgers, I'd probably still go with the same ones here. If they put in Reggie White, though, ooh, I'd probably still go the same route. But I think there's more of a talent pool to pick from the Packers. It'd be, oh man, because it's such a huge debate to say who is the greatest Packer of all time. You know, some it's Starr. You're right. Some it's Favre. You're right. Some is Rodgers. You're right. There's no right or wrong answer with that one. There's just so many options. But for me, I'm probably going to start Giannis. I'm going to bench Robin Yount. I'm going to cut Favre. And then the other one it threw out, it was, how did they say it? Oh, Icons Edition. It's kind of weird because it's like a stadium, and then it's a song, and then it's a thing at another stadium, so it's kind of all over the place. But bench start cut Lambeau Field, jump around at Camp Randall, and Bernie Brewer slide. I'm going start Lambeau Field, bench jump around, cut Bernie Brewer slide. So I'm going to start, if what they're terming it as Wisconsin Sports Icons Edition, I'm going to start Lambeau Field. I'm going to bench, jump around at Camp Randall. That's kind of my second place one. And cut the Bernie Brewer slide. Those are my picks for a little bench start cut. You can continue to send yours. We did have a couple for that second one here too. Texter Jim says start Lambeau, bench Camp Randall, and bench Bernie. And then Chris says start jump around, bench Lambeau, cut Bernie Brewer. So get those coming. You can continue to send those on over if you would like. We talked a little Brewers in the first hour. We're going to do a grind my gears coming up here to close out the second hour. So give you a few more minutes to send over some grind my gears Tuesday. Okay. Send those on over, text it, tweet it, Facebook it, video stream it, whatever you got. But so we'll get to those coming up here just a little bit. But, you know, we spent the first hour talking all Brewers and that. And I want to go back because we did have a couple of texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line that I missed. But Ben said, good to see Tobias Myers bounce back last night with a vintage performance. Gave flashbacks to last year. Hopefully, this is something he can continue to build upon because he is definitely going to be needed for the rest of this season. Another texter chimed in about, we were talking a little bit about the Brewers offense and such, and mentioned that the Brewers offense has been so high and so low. It's lacked consistency outside of Bryce Terang and even Sal Frelick to an extent this year. I don't even know if one trade or one move could make all the difference. That was from Greg on the text line. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know. I don't think it's one text. I don't think it's one trade. I don't think it's one move. I don't think one player could make all the difference in the world. I don't, one player could have a big impact within a lineup, an offensive player, but, when you look at it from top to bottom, Joey Ortiz has struggled from the plate this year. Christian Yelich, yes, he's got 6 home runs. Yes, he's got 25 RBIs to lead the team. Other than that, it's kind of been like, up and down. Rhys Hoskins had a nice stretch going there. Jackson Cheerio had a nice stretch going. Contreras offensively hasn't been at the level that he was at last year so far. But yeah, the offense overall outside of Bryce Terang really has been bleh. And you look at some of the rankings of that, and you look at the numbers, slugging percentage, on base average, Brewers are towards the bottom. But they are up there in terms of runs and hits too. So we'll get back to what Brewers talk, but we got to take a really quick break here. Then we're going to do some grind my gears. So last call for what's grinding your gears. You can send those puppies on over. All right, just hit me up with a quick message. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Are you ready to upgrade your home? Start from the ground up with Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's carpet, vinyl, tile, or laminate, Carpet City Flooring Center has the perfect flooring to match your style and your budget. With one of the largest selections in the area and a knowledgeable team that's there to help, you'll find exactly what you need. Whether you're updating one room or maybe doing a whole home makeover, from selection to installation, Carpet City Flooring Center makes it simple. Their professional installers get the job done right and on time. If you're not sure where to start, their in-store experts will guide you through every step. Locally owned and proud to serve the Eau Claire area, Carpet City Flooring Center is your trusted flooring partner. Just stop on in today and see why more homeowners and contractors choose Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. And the Carpet City Flooring Center team has they were in the building yesterday, going to be in the building again later on this morning, working on that new Sports Talk studio. Cannot wait to show you all what we got planned with that thing. Cannot wait. I'm excited. I'm anxious. Ooh. All right, let's do a little, let's wrap up the second hour here quickly with a little Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. When it comes to Toyson Ford, if you're looking for a dealership that puts you first, then you should be visiting Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls. Whether you're shopping for a new Ford F-150, maybe a Bronco, maybe an Explorer, or a reliable used car or truck, you'll find a wide selection and a team that listens. Need service? Their certified technicians handle everything from oil changes to major repairs using genuine Ford parts. Plus, they offer easy financing and online tools to make your car buying experience smooth. Stop by Toyson Ford at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard or visit toysonford.net. What's grinding my gears this morning? What's grinding your gears? All right, I'll get to a couple of yours here. We've got Ben saying what's grinding my gears. What's grinding my gears is this Brewers offense not being consistent and good enough to be a playoff team this year. Jim says what's grinding my gears is the inconsistency of this Brewers team. Okay, another inconsistency word being thrown out there with the Brewers. Another texter says what's grinding my gears is seeing the Cubs playing good baseball. That's from Adam on our texting line. And another one, what's grinding my gears is the Bucks out of the playoffs, still bummed that they couldn't get past the Pacers again this year, and that's from Derek. So, all right, we got a few of you chiming in for a little grind my gears. You can continue to send those on over if you like. I do know we got a couple more that I'm going to save for a little bit later on this morning. For me though, I think I'm going to go with, since I missed grind my gears last week because I was out, still dealing with whatever I've got going on right now, but definitely better. But what's grinding my gears? I hate draft grades. I know I've said this before, but draft grades, I think every time I see one, and every time I see an article or a post or whatever grading drafts based off the players that they drafted, I'm just like, I just mind boggle. It's like grading. It's like preseason rankings. Really, it's what it is. It's preseason rankings. Can we just call it that, or come up with a different word for that? I mean, it's like grading a kid before they even start school. You're grading them based off of, or you're grading the team. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, you could talk about and you can assess and you can analyze whether, a team like, hey, I thought they did a really good job of addressing this need with this player or this position group. That's fine. But if you're grading it based off the quote unquote of the talent of the players and all that, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point in time before they even step foot on a football field. How many times do we have to go through this? How many times do we have to, revisit drafts after a few years? Like, oh, yeah, regrade the draft, and boy, was I really off on that one. I mean, that's a tradition every single year. Every single year. So I was going to do this last week on Tuesday, but since I was out last Tuesday, I kind of pushed it for this Tuesday. But my grind my gears is draft grades. Draft grades, draft grades. Can't stand them. They're just content. I get it. They're content to get people to read and to read some. And I look at them. I don't pay attention to the grades, but I'll read a little bit of the analysis, maybe on the player and such. But that's kind of where it stops. Like if I see my team's got a B, I'm like, I'm not all up in arms or like it should have been an A. I mean, for crying out loud, the draft's all about optimism. It's all about hope. It's all about possibilities. It's all about, you're projecting whether these players are going to be good or not. The potential is there. I mean, every fan base is pumped when it comes to draft time because it's, I mean, you're hoping, in all cases, your team's going to get better because you're adding talent. You're adding talent. So, all right, Jake, I'll get back to you on that one. So, you could send some other ones over here if you want. The couple I was going to save over here. Let me go scroll on down. So I believe one was from a Mark. Where's it at here? Oh, yes, here we go. Mark says, first off, I'm a Timberwolves fan, but grind my gears. All the talk is about the Warriors in this series, just like it was all about the Lakers in the Timberwolves series. T-Wolves in 6. So grinding his gears. What's grinding his gears is no talk about the T-Wolves, it sounds like. It's all about the Warriors. Honestly, I hear you, man. I hear you. Like, I thought that Lakers series, it was going to be, Timberwolves win it. It's all going to be about what the Lakers did wrong and not give any credit to the Wolves. And now you've got, Warriors who I picked to win their series against the Rockets, but it's Steph Curry, it's Jimmy Butler. Everybody loves the Warriors right now. And yeah, there's a lot of attention on the Warriors and such. So, but I understand the frustration. No, everybody wants their team to get a little love. Everybody wants their team to get a little positive attention, to get a little attention. Everybody does. Okay. But this might be a good thing, though, too, for the Timberwolves. Use it as motivation. Use it as a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Fly a little bit under the radar here. I think if the Timberwolves get through this series, first of all, I'm picking the T-Wolves to win this series. And I think they're going to get back to the Western Conference Finals. And I think they're going to be a tough matchup, whether it's going to be the Nuggets or the Thunder. I think the Thunder will bounce back and win that series. And I know a lot of people, diehards, networks, whatever, may not love a T-Wolves and Thunder matchup in terms of eyes on the on the TV set. And they probably would have rather had Lakers and Warriors in this playoff series. But I'd be all about a Thunder and Warrior, or a Thunder and Wolves Western Conference Finals. I'd be all about that. And then we had Luke. We had a different Luke chime in a little bit earlier. Excuse me. What grinds my gears? What grinds my gears is okay. So yeah, it was a Brewers one. What grinds my gears is the up and down performances from the Brewers offense so far this year. Man, I wish they really would have addressed third base in the offseason and had about a power bat to consistently put in the middle of their lineup. So somebody said this is why I got a little sidetracked. Somebody had sent this over to me. Thank you for that, because it just fits my grind my gears, and it just grinds my gears a little bit more. But there was ranking. Somebody on NFL Network or NFL.com ranked all 32 rookie classes, plus overall grades and favorite picks and day 3 sleepers. Who had the worst draft class? Vikings, apparently. 32. 32 out of 32. Grade C-. Who had the best draft class? Let's scroll all the way. I think it was the Patriots at number 1. Okay. Is this right? Yeah, it was. Okay. Seahawks were at number 2. Packers were at 24. Bears were at 3. Where was the Lions at on this thing? Just looking at NFC North-wise. Cowboys at 9. All right. Yeah, they kind of, yeah, I thought their first 3 were pretty solid. I liked their picks. I really did. Again, that kind of pains me to say a little bit. Where the heck are the Lions? Are they? Okay, I'm scrolling. Man, there's not a lot of love for the NFC North outside of the Bears being a top 3 one. Okay, so Lions are 23, Packers are 24. They graded the Packers as a C+. The draft hosts invested draft currency in a number of need areas, including doubling down at wide receiver and edge rusher with 4 of their first 5 picks. But the cornerback position remains a concern, with Green Bay failing to grab one until midway through the 7th round. Jair's status on the team is still very much a question. Even if he ultimately stays with the Packers, the 28-year-old cover corner has missed double-digit games in 3 of the last 4 years in a league that's welcoming more high-impact receivers. With each passing year, a potential Achilles heel at corner is far from ideal. Favorite pick was Matthew Golden. Sleeper pick was Baron Sorrell, defensive end. So, all right, there you have it. Draft grades, man. Draft grades. All right, coming up next hour, we'll get back some more baseball talk with the Brewers. We'll catch up with Mr. Cardinal as well. We're going to switch gears here, chat a little Badgers. Luke Fickell talked with ESPN just a couple days ago. Pete Thamel from ESPN. It's an interesting Q&A up at ESPN.com. But for anybody wanting the Badger football program to go back to their roots and be kind of a power football and such, or power football program and such, you might welcome some of the comments from Luke Fickell. But then some of you may be saying it's about time or it should never have switched to begin with. So we'll talk to RJ about this coming up about 20 or so minutes from now. So continue to send me what's grinding your gears. Hit us up with a text 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. So we'll get to those. We'll get back to some more of your texts and comments and such. So we'll get to those, sprinkle those in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Stanley Cup playoffs continuing to roll along as well. I know with the Wild out, maybe some people have lost a little bit of interest. I still enjoy watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. I still enjoy it. Last night, we had Florida falling to Toronto 5-4. So the Maple Leafs taking game 1 of that series tonight. We've got Carolina taking on Washington for game 1. Edmonton's taking on Vegas for game 1 of that series. So got some more game 1s on the docket. We'll make those picks, and we'll make some NBA playoff picks coming up at the back end of the hour when we usually do our picks. We just got 2 NBA games tonight: Indiana, Cleveland, game 2, and then that Golden State and Minnesota game that we were talking about a little bit earlier. But in the NBA, at least, I mean, you've had the lower seeds coming away with dubs. New York erasing a 20-point deficit last night, taking down Boston. Denver taking down OKC. Before that, Pacers taking down Cleveland. And then you got Golden State, Minnesota, and that's a 7-6 matchup. So it's been the teams that have been well rested that have actually dropped their games. We'll see if that plays out tonight with Golden State, Minnesota. 2 in, 1 to go. We got a quick break, and we'll be back after these quick words. final hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning. A big thanks for making us a part of your start. If you are up and at it, you should be. Get out of bed if you're not out of bed right now, unless you work third shift or something like that. Then please go to bed. All right, then you can go to bed. Then you need your rest. You need your rest and relaxation. So, but a big thanks for tuning in and participating. All of you right now who are texting or tweeting or Facebooking the program as we speak. So, we're going to catch up with RJ Cardinal here in just a little bit, in about 15 minutes or so. Talk some Badger football with him. I want to get his thoughts on Luke Fickell. He did a little Q&A with ESPN saying that we've got the identity that fits us. We've got the identity that fits us. So we'll go through a little bit more of that, but there's one Q&A of this where ESPN said, identity is the place to start here, I think. Wisconsin is going to be rechanneling its offensive identity from past eras. How has that process gone, and what's it been like now that we're near the completion of spring ball? Luke Fickell responded, I feel like it's the identity that we need, and it's not completely all the way old school back. But I think the idea of being more multiple and truly understanding what physicality first looks like is where we kind of came to. Whether it was Coach Grimes' philosophy or his scheme or really just his personality, I think we're in a good place. Obviously, we've got ways to continue to grow, but I really do feel like we've got the identity that fits us, that gives us a chance to lean on our guys up front, but still be multiple enough to say, hey, we've got to be able to create big plays and create space and get down the field and just maybe in some different ways. So we'll talk all things Badgers with Mr. Cardinal coming up here in, again, about 10, 15 minutes or so. Before that, let's talk some more baseball. I got to ask, I saw this on social media. I think it was Buster Olney. It was Buster Olney. But we've talked about, Aaron Judge just had a flipping crazy month of April. Numbers wise, I mean, he was just amazing. It was Jason Stark. Jason Stark with this post. Is Aaron Judge the greatest right-handed hitter of the last 100 years? Is Aaron Judge the greatest right-handed hitter of the last 100 years? And he put out some numbers. A 207 WRC plus. Yeah, I'll explain. So WRC plus is weighted runs created plus. Okay, if I know baseball's got a lot of advanced terminology, analytics, that sort of stuff. So what is WRC plus before I get into it? WRC plus, weighted runs created plus. It's a statistic that measures a hitter's offensive production, and it's adjusted for the park and league factors, okay? So, again, they could come up with a stat or a formula for anything in sports, but that's one of them in baseball. But I thought this was interesting from Jason Stark, where he said, a 207 WRC plus. How good is that? Well, as he says, can you comprehend how ridiculous it is to produce runs at a rate 107% above league average for a stretch that has gone on for longer than 3 seasons? Before Judge showed up, no right-handed hitter had crashed the 200 WRC plus threshold over any 450 game stretch since Roger Hornsby, who did it before the 100-year cutoff. Since then, guys like DiMaggio and Miguel Cabrera had made it into the 180s. Willie Mays, Pujols, McGuire's, Trout edged into the 170s. But Judge averages 207 over 3+ seasons. And as the piece says, you know how many right-handed hitters have even had one season with a 207 WRC plus in the last century, according to Fangraphs? One. Aaron Judge, 218 last season. So, is Aaron Judge the greatest right-handed hitter of the last 100 years? I mean, again, it depends, I think, how much do you go to the advanced statistics, the advanced formulas, the advanced scouting and such. There's no question Aaron Judge right now is off to, I mean, this year just a fantastic, a fast start. And you go to MLB.com and they already put out their first MVP poll where 46 quote unquote experts cast ballots for early MVP picks. One unanimous decision for one league, Aaron Judge in the AL. All 46 votes. I mean, he was hitting 423 through Sunday. I don't, is Aaron Judge, what's Aaron Judge? If we should have did this for Crystal Ball yesterday. I might have to save this for Monday. But Aaron Judge right now, 414. So he didn't have any hits yesterday. But he's 414 so far this season, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, 55 hits. At what point do you think the talk, the narrative, or that watch is going to be on when it comes to like Aaron Judge and the batting average? I know 400 is like okay, 400 watch on. Not there yet. I'm not even close. I think, should we say Father's Day? Maybe even further, 4th of July, when you start to put that on there. But there's no question the start that Aaron Judge is on right now is just whoo. But now you're saying potentially best right-handed hitter in the last 100 years. I mean, there's some competition. There's some serious Hall of Fame and all-time greats that could be involved in that name or in that conversation. There's some serious hitters. But that just kind of, again, puts it in perspective. And it's not just this year. You look at the last 3 years, as they've said. 3 years. And I think a lot of people just assume, Judge with the power, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's got 11 dingers here. But, boy, he's a really special hitter. Ohtani gets a lot of attention, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But, man. So, but Brewers-wise, they're back at it for Game 2 tonight, going up against the Houston Astros. Chad Patrick's going to be back on the mound for the Brewers, looking for his second win of the season. So far, Chad Patrick, 1-3 with a 2.87 ERA. On the flip side, for going for the Astros tonight, you've got Wisniewski on the mound. Hayden Wesneski, who is 1-2 with a 3.86 ERA. He's coming off of a loss against the Royals back on the 25th, where he pitched 5 innings, but he only gave up 2 earned runs, 1 strikeout. But you look at his last 3 outings, no decision against the Padres back on the 19th, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. And then against the Angels, 3 earned runs, picked up the win, 3 earned runs, but he had 10 Ks in 6 innings. Again, not a lot. I mean, there really isn't a ton of experience between these guys. You've got some Brewers hitters with at least a game, maybe a couple games worth of experience going up against Wisniewski. Nothing really to write home about. Astros hitters, nothing against Chad Patrick. But you look at Chad Patrick, and this is a guy that, I think we didn't know really anything about him at the beginning of the season. He was a guy that was kind of thrown into the rotation, thrown into some play time because of the injuries to the pitching staff. And I think it's safe to say the dude has really stepped up. He's really performed well. If you box score it, you're like, well, he's lost 3 games in a row. Yeah, but his latest game against the White Sox back in the first gets charged with the loss. He went 5 2/3 and 3 earned runs. Cardinals went over 4 innings, 2 earned runs. Athletics went 6 innings, 2 earned runs, i.e., no dang run support for Chad Patrick in those games. The most runs he's allowed in an outing was 3 in his latest one against the White Sox. So 6 games started, 7 games total in appearance for Chad Patrick, 31 innings pitched, 26 strikeouts with a 1.28 whip. He's definitely been one of the nice surprises for this Brewers team so far this year. And hopefully, just hopefully, he's got another quality start in him. And if the Brewers win tonight, they'll at least secure a Series W and put themselves in position for a sweep tomorrow with Quinn Priester on the mound for the Crew before they have an off day on Thursday and travel to Tampa Bay as their AL American League Tour continues to roll here. But again, last night, Tobias Myers, fantastic performance from him. Looked like the Tobias Myers from last year. It's what we were talking about yesterday. I thought it was a big start for Tobias Myers after the first two starts were shaky. Issues with command, issues with control. Pat Murphy kind of sending a message, pulling him early in his second starts. Got a little bullpen work in against the Cubbies. Dude looks more confident. Dude looked more comfortable yesterday. No walks. So we talked about. Limit the walks. Don't have the walks. And he didn't do that last night. So well done. Well done by Tobias Myers. Now, hopefully, what do we like to say? He can continue to stack that success. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to switch gears and we're going to talk a little college football with Mr. R.J. Cardinal. So he's going to be joining us. We'll talk a little bit about Luke Fickell's Q&A with ESPN from just a couple of days ago, talking about the identity of this ball club, about this football team. So quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. For over 40 years, Post Glass Samir has been Chippewa Falls' trusted name in glass services. Whether you're updating your bathroom with a custom shower enclosure, replacing a windshield, or enhancing your business storefront, their sales team delivers quality and precision. Family owned company, they pride themselves on fast turnaround times and personalized service. Just give them a call today at 715-723-8676 or visit postglassamir.com to learn more. Postglassamir, where clarity meets craftsmanship. We're switching gears here now that the NFL draft is over with. What else we got to look forward to with football? Well, we got college football maybe coming up here in just a couple of months and such. But Luke Fickle actually did a little bit of a Q&A with ESPN the other day and talked about the identity of this team. And you've heard our guy, Mr. RJ Cardinal, quite a bit talk about the identity of this Badger football team getting back to what it was the last couple of years. RJ, first of all, good morning, sir. How are you? Not bad, man. Not bad. Did you get a chance? I know it was a couple days ago. So did you see the Q&A that Luke Fickle did with I think it was Pete Thamel from ESPN? But he he talked a lot about the identity, which is something you've talked about a lot about, man. So, one of the quotes I thought was kind of interesting that he said, "I feel like it's the identity that we need, and it's not completely all the way old school back, but I think the idea of being more multiple and truly understanding what physicality first looks like is where we kind of came to, whether it was Coach Grimes' philosophy or his scheme or really just his personality. I think we're in a good place. Obviously, we've got a ways to continue to grow, but I really do feel like we've got the identity that fits us, that gives us a chance to lean on our guys up front, but uh, still be multiple enough to say, hey, we've got to be able to create big plays and create space and get down the field and maybe in some different ways. So, I mean, RJ, is this, in your opinion, are we back to a power running football team for Wisconsin? And then was that just based off of what these last couple of years kind of looked like and coach is like, "Oh, well, I better switch to it," or was he told? Or what are your thoughts when you hear Luke Fickle talk about going back to the identity that we've been used to with Wisconsin football for years? Mhm.
Big Ten players.
So do you think then if we, talk about running the football and such, do you see this, being more of like the bell cow type of situation with the running back spot? Do you think they've got that like is Cade that guy? I mean, who is that guy if it is kind of a bell cow, or do you think it's still going to be kind of by committee at this point?
Pretty darn good things that
Mhm. I know how much you love rankings and such, and, USA Today, a couple weeks ago did, Big Ten college football coaching rankings, which I don't think it's a big surprise who number 1 is. It's Ryan Day, James Franklin, number 2. Luke Fickell came in at number 11. So Ryan Day, James Franklin, Kirk Ferentz, number 3, Dan Lanning from Oregon, number 4, Matt Rule, Nebraska at 5, Signetti over at Indiana, PJ Flex 7, Brett Bielema 8, Lincoln Riley 9, Greg Schiano at number 10. Would you put all those coaches ahead of Luke Fickell right now, RJ? Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Illinois improved.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it was, 7 of his top 25, 4 of his top 10 teams. If the AP poll holds the same projection, 7 ranked opponents would be the most Wisconsin will ever, have faced in a 12-game regular season, and then, it says 4 top 10 teams would be the second most. In 2016, they played, 5 teams, and that doesn't include, obviously, games against Washington and Minnesota that could be within the top 40 for this season too. So I mean, you put it in a historical perspective. I mean, it could be one of the toughest, if not the toughest schedules Badger football has ever gone up against. It seems like. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Before we, kind of wrap up things here in just a few minutes, RJ, kind of a quick note on, I know it's kind of wrapping up with Badger sports and spring sports and all that, but sure seems like in some of the and I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about them, but it seems like Wisconsin Badger women's basketball is really, really hitting the transfer portal and bringing in some players here. So I'm a little intrigued. I know there's a lot of question marks surrounding the hire of their new head coach and that, but at least on the surface, at least on paper, it seems like she's really hitting the transfer portal trail, if you will, and bringing in some players to this roster. Yeah, I think a lot of people did though too. So, mhm, mhm, mhm. I forgot to bring this up, but I know it's not Wisconsin related, but it's in the conference. What was your reaction yesterday when you saw that self-imposed 2-game suspension for Coach Moore from Michigan? Mhm. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Exactly. He's RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst from, the Zone in Madison. Dude, appreciate the time as always, man. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the weather. Have you gone to the golf course yet at all? Ooh. Mhm. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe to get out on Friday, so we'll see. I haven't gone out yet either, so but getting the itch now with this warmer weather, that's for sure. So, yeah, yeah. Alright, dude, have a good week, and, we'll catch up with you soon. Alright, you got it. There you go. There's RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. Big thanks to RJ as always. We gotta take a quick break, and then we're gonna wrap it up with some picks here this morning. All right, we'll make some NBA picks. We got some baseball picks. We got the Stanley Cup final playoff picks, Stanley Cup playoff picks, all that good stuff. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Dreaming of your own backyard retreat? Well, Home Oasis in Chippewa Falls is here to make it happen. Whether you're looking for a custom in-ground pool, a relaxing Sundance spa, or a Green Mountain pellet grill, they have got you covered. From design to installation and maintenance, Home Oasis is your local destination for backyard bliss. Just visit Andrew and Sam at Home Oasis today at 11293 County Highway X or online at homeoasiswi.com, especially if you're going to be doing some summer traveling this year and you're looking maybe for like a tailgating grill or a travel grill. Check out the Trek grill. That thing is awesome. We used it at the draft a couple weeks ago. It was fantastic. So go check out that Trek grill at Home Oasis in Chippewa Falls. We got about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. That clock's wrong. I got to change that looking at the computer one. So we got about 7 minutes to the top of the hour here. Let's do some picks to wrap up this morning. Oh, dang it. All right, let's go. Let's start off with the NBA. So we've got Pacers and Cavs, Warriors, T-Wolves. I'm going to go Cavs to even up the series. W for the Cavs tonight, 1-1. Game 1 between Warriors and Timberwolves. I'm going to go T-Wolves. I think I understand it. I understand it that you got fans that are a little upset that maybe their team isn't getting the proper attention, the proper limelight, the proper praise, proper credit. I get it. I understand it. But I also feel like it could help a team. And in this case, I think it could help the Timberwolves. You know, in the first series, it was all about Lakers, 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 LeBron, Luka. Now it's Warriors. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, et cetera. Game 7, they upset the 2-seeded Rockets. So it's Warriors, Steve Kerr. I think that could help the Timberwolves. So I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. Breaking the trend that we've seen in the second round here with the lower seeds getting W's. I think T-Wolves pick up the win tonight. Let's move over to the Stanley Cup playoffs, where we've got 2 games on the docket tonight. Carolina versus Washington. Game 1 of this series. I'm gonna go Capitals. I think Carolina is favored, but I'm gonna go Capitals. Edmonton at Vegas. I'm gonna go Edmonton. I'm gonna go with the road team. I'm going with a couple upsets tonight. Why not? It's Stanley Cup playoffs, baby. So I'm gonna go with a couple upsets. Let's do some baseball picks now. Cleveland at Washington. Give me the Guardians. Dodgers, Marlins. Give me the Dodgers. Texas at Boston. Give me the Red Sox. Phillies at the Rays. Give me the Philadelphia Phillies. Padres, Yankees. I'll go with the Yankees. Reds, Braves. Go with the Braves. Chris Sale's on the mound. And then game 2, Guardians, Washington. I'll go Guardians again. They get both. Let's go Baltimore at Minnesota to begin that series for the Twinnies. I'll go with the Twins. Pablo Lopez on the mound. White Sox, Kansas City. I'll go with the Royals. Giants at the Cubs. Verlander, Colin Ray. I'll go Giants in this one. Although the offense for the Cubs. Pittsburgh, Cardinals. Paul Skeens. We'll go Pirates. Although, is it fair to say now? Is it fair? You look at Paul Skeens, he's 3-3 this year, but still 2.74 ERA. I think I've seen some people say, a little bit of a down year for Paul Skeens in that. I think this bar was set so incredibly high. If he didn't go 25-0, people would be like, what's wrong with Paul Skeens? But I'm going to go Pirates. I'm going to go with the Pirates. Detroit, Colorado, give me the Tigers. Toronto, Angels, give me the Blue Jays. Mets at the Diamondbacks. Give me the Diamondbacks with Zach Gallen on the mound. And then Seattle versus the A's. Give me the Mariners. And then finally, Brewers, Astros. You know what? I think Chad Patrick pitches another quality start, and he gets some dang run support in the game tonight. Brewers win, secure Series W. Brewers win, secure Series W. That's your picks to wrap up the program. Reminder, Brewers first pitch tonight, 6:40, right here, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Pre-game coverage will begin at about 6:05. So, Just a couple minutes left. It was this day 110 years ago, by the way. 110 years ago. We were talking, what was the other one from yesterday? Oh, the first modern perfect game. Well, it was this day 110 years ago. Babe Ruth hit his first major league home run. He was with the Red Sox. And who did he hit it against? Yankees. He also pitched against the Yankees, too. So this was, again, for Ben Burrows, the highest public sale for any Babe Ruth card. $7.2 million. A 1914 Baltimore News SGC3. I can't even imagine spending thousands, hundreds even, on car. I mean, I would love to have that, but $7.2 million on a Babe Ruth card. 110. I mean, you're talking over 100 years ago. It's a 1914 card. Man. So, all right, tomorrow we've got some stock reports. We're making a turn tomorrow. So, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. We'll hit that up tomorrow. Hopefully, we're talking about a Brewers W and at least securing a series dub, and maybe talking about a sweep tomorrow afternoon. So, we'll hit that up. And talk about that coming up. Tomorrow. So, got that. I'll probably throw a little more football talk into this as well. I know we're getting ready for some more team activities at Packers camp and that. So we'll hit that up coming up as well. Maybe we'll have a Jair update. Probably not. I doubt it. It's kind of Jair watch at this point. It is what it is. So we'll talk a little Stanley Cup playoffs tomorrow, and then we'll see if the T-Wolves pick up a W against the Warriors. Might kick off a new segment tomorrow called a little trash talk. I'll explain what that is coming at you tomorrow too. So DP Dads are up next. Have a very fantastic day. Don't forget to sign up for the Kasper Classic. Go do that. All right. Go do that right now at sportstalk1051.com. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back at same place, same time tomorrow morning. See you then.